Toledo Rockets Day on Sharpen the Point. 2024, they went 8-5. It was a subpar season for Jason Candle in his 10th year. He's always had quality teams at Toledo, and he's going to look to bounce back and try to make the MAC championship game once again. It's all going to come down to quarterback. Quarterback play has traditionally been very good at Toledo. Daquan Finn, former MAC Player of the Year, he's going to end up presenting a big problem. Tucker Gleason is going to return. Gleason's played well for the last couple of years. He was the full-time starter last season. Great year, 2,800 yards through the air, 24 touchdowns, added 364 and 7 on the ground. He's a true dual threat, quality player. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the MAC. Some would argue the second best quarterback in the MAC to Daquan Finn now that he returns. And then he was the second leading rusher on the team. Now that speaks more to how bad the backfield was, but he's an experienced, proven commodity. And then he's got a quality player behind him in John Allen Richter. I think he's going to end up being the starter next season. He's probably got the pole position for that, but we're hoping we don't have to see him because Gleason's fun to watch. At running back, they're going to hope for a lot more production. I know Jacquez Stewart's gone. He was a staple in that backfield for a while. The leading rusher last season was Connor Waldzak. He's going to return, but he's clearly not the answer. So they went out in the portal and grabbed Chip Trainum. Trainum was a big-time prospect at Ohio State, went to Kentucky. He's failed at both spots, admittedly, but he should be the bell cow. And then I expect FCS transfer Kenji Christian to push him for playing time. Trainum has not been able to stay healthy. That's part of his problem. His other problem is he just hasn't consistently been able. He's been consistently beat out by other people. I don't think that's going to be a problem here. Him transferring down is going to be able to do. We've seen this happen where these guys come down into the MAC and just dominate. So they need to improve the run game to go where they want to go, though. That's kind of the piece last year that was missing compared to years past that has made them 8-5 rather than a 9, 10, 11 win team. Another key piece that's going to be missing off the roster from last season, Jerwan Newton. Jerwan Newton graduates. He led the team. He had 72 catches, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he was a staple for the last couple of years. Now, Junior Vandeross has to make you feel great coming off the season he had a year ago. And he's going to hope to build on that breakout season. You know, it saw him lead the team in receptions and targets. He had 85 catches, almost 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. Newton's going to be replaceable, though. Trayvon Rudolph comes in from Northern Illinois, and that man is absolutely explosive. He's a proven producer in the MAC. He has had some injury issues. If he can stay healthy, he will replace Newton without a doubt. He has been great at Northern Illinois, being able to get him the ball in space, whether it be handoffs, end arounds, screen passes, or just actual traditional routes. The man is a highlight reel. Thomas Zaros should operate as the outside receiver as a complement to those two. I don't expect him to be too involved. We'll end up playing a good amount of these guys, especially in the MACtion portion of the season for DFS purposes. Sneakily, losing Anthony Torres at tight end is going to be a problem. The man caught 9 touchdowns a year ago. All he did was catch touchdowns. He had about 30 catches on the season. But I believe they hope that Holy Cross transfer Jacob Peterson will step into that role and have a productive season. I think he can probably be a tad bit more explosive. I don't know if he gets to the touchdown number, but the receiving numbers could probably be a little bit better with Peterson than they were with Torres. He was quite limited, very old age Jason Witten when it came to his athletic capability. Along the offensive line, the left tackle and the center, Jacob James and Alan Jones, both graduate. They really do need the Pitt transfer center, Terrence Moore, to step up and be the leader in the center. I believe the center should be the leader of an offensive line. He's going to need to do that. And I think he can. He's capable. He has a little bit of experience starting in the ACC, so he's a quality pickup. More depth and stability at the positions compared to a year ago when everyone was new. So after replacing everybody, they've got a little bit more stability here. Ethan Spoth is going to start at right guard. He was noted as being a quality performer during the spring. I would expect this line to play better. That was probably why the run game was so bad last year, in addition to not having explosive running backs. They should improve along the line and be able to move the football on the ground because we know they can throw it. That's for dang sure. On defense, look, every team in the MAC has issues on defense because they're getting poached and guys are leaving. But, man, losing the big man, Darius Alexander, in the middle, there's a reason why he was considered an NFL talent because the kid can flat out play. Caven Butler, DeAndre Reagan, all are going to hurt when they depart. Those are losses, right? But Martez Pointer's going to return at D tackle. He's going to try to fill the hole that Darius Alexander leaves. He's capable of doing it. He's a mountain of a man as well. Defensive end, you got Malachi Davis. He could play across the entire line. He's going to be looked upon to be a leader in the room. He's a good player. UMass transfer defensive lineman Luce Julien. He had 5 sacks a year ago at UMass. He's going to need to step in right away. He can play as well. So the future looks good, and the capability of this defensive line looks good. Granted, losing Alexander is going to hurt. So right away, you're gonna feel the pain there. The top 4 at linebackers all graduate. That is a big issue because now you lost your second level. You lost a good bit of your first level, and now losing your second level is going to be a problem. Nice part is they were able to replace some of it with Langston Lang from UVA. He's got some experience. I think they'll be okay. This is a well-coached team. The coaching staff stayed intact, so that's a good thing. This conference is built on running the football, and that's where they'll have time to be able to meld that front 7 together before they get into conference play. The secondary is pretty intact, although losing a 4-time All-MAC performer in Maxon Hook is going to hurt. But they did add some 4-star guys out of the transfer portal, and Braden Moore and Amari Snowden. He comes in from Wisconsin. Notably, safety Braden Alls. He played a little nickel last year. I would expect he moves into that more safety role with Maxon Hook gone. He returns. He had 72 tackles, 4 interceptions a year ago. He's a very, very good player. So he will be able to replace that, pick up that slack. And then, given the departures, from the front 7, I don't think I would have all the confidence in the world in that secondary group. The front 7, I think, will be able to adapt in the long run and hold their own. Looking at the schedule and the outlook for this season, we know the pass offense is going to be good. The defense has a track record of being good, so I don't really have concerns there. It really comes down to the run game. I think they can do it. I think Chip Trainum has a very, very strong season, and it's usually been a strength of this team is their capability to run the ball, specifically because the quarterback play is usually involved in the run game. That helps the running backs. I think the offensive line is just going to be better than it was a year ago, and we'll see what happens, right? They lead off playing at Kentucky. That's a Trainum revenge game. They got one SEC team in Mississippi State last year. Kentucky is not the strongest opponent. That is a winnable game for Toledo. That is a very winnable game. Should they win that game? No. But it's a winnable game, and it's a nice, paycheck you're going to get for playing that game. Western Kentucky. That's going to be a blast. It's going to be a fun game. There's going to be a ton of points scored in it. I hope it's on the daily fantasy slate. But the turnover at Western Kentucky is going to matter. Caden Veltkamp leaving, Easton Messer leaving. So there's going to be some issues on that team that they're going to have to figure out early in the season. I think Toledo can take care of that and take care of business there. Tucker Gleason, he's just a static, stable commodity. He wins that game for him. Morgan State, free win. Western Michigan, always a good team, tough team. It's early in the season. I expect Toledo to get the job done there. Akron, not good. Bowling Green, not good. Kent State, not good. I mean, they get 3 of the worst teams in the MAC in a row. That is a beautiful lead-in schedule. You expect them to be, at worst, 3-1 in conference play right there, heading into a Washington State game that is going to be interesting. It's far enough into the season that I expect Washington State to be able to overcome the Ben Arbuckle, John Mateer losses to Oklahoma. They start improving. It's a very tough place to play. You cannot expect to win that game, but you have a fighting chance there. Now we get into really the meat of the schedule. Northern Illinois, that's going to be a smash mouth game. I don't think Northern Illinois is going to be able to throw the ball. Trayvon Rudolph revenge game here. This is going to be a fun one. That's a key to the season is there's a 2-week stretch in here with that Northern Illinois game and that Miami of Ohio game. That could be the MACtion game of the year is at Miami of Ohio. I hope the weather's good for it because I want to see a very clean game played here because this is the Daquan Finn revenge game. So this is a very tough spot at Miami, Ohio. That's a talented team. That's really the team that I expect to push Toledo the most to be in the MAC championship and that they're going to have to, that's who the road's going to go through. So that's a blast of a game. I would not want to predict it. I want to see how healthy Gleason is, how healthy Finn is coming into that, and that's really going to determine how I feel about that game when we get there, and I look forward to watching that one. Playing Ball State, they're just too talented. Toledo's going to just take care of business there. And at Central Michigan, that typically has been a snowish game there. It could be tough, but I'll ride Gleason there. So I think 8 wins is really a given for this roster, and they should be in contention for a MAC championship game appearance, and they should have the expectation that they should be capable of winning the MAC. Would I pick them to win the MAC? Probably not. I would probably lean Miami, Ohio right now. I'm sorry. But realistically, Northern Illinois, Miami, Ohio, I think Northern Illinois is really going to want to go out with a bang, but they just don't have the pass offense to do this. And I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that you win one of the Kentucky and Washington State games. So this is going to be a fun team to watch. I look forward to seeing them. And, man, if Trip Trainum shows up, it's going to be one heck of a roster and one heck of a ride. And this could be a legitimate playoff contender.